Hey, good evening, Seattle Kraken fans. What's going on out there tonight? How's everybody doing? I'm glad you're here, tuned in for the stream. We got a great show, got a lot to fit in, so we got to go fast. A lot of great content tonight. I'm in a pretty good mood for a few reasons. Not only was it an absolutely beautiful day, our Seattle Kraken got a big win. But I also got to sit down with an amazing guest earlier today, Alicia Crank, the ambassador chair for Women's Pro Hockey Seattle. Had a great conversation with her, so we're going to get to that here in just a few minutes. So I hope you guys stick around for the whole thing. Thanks again for tuning in tonight. We're going to have some fun. We're going to celebrate this win together. Hit me up in the chat. That'd be great. We're coming to you live, Sasquatch Studio again, another episode. I call this Post-Game Rapid Reaction. I'm your host, Mike. You might know me over on Twitter as Seattle Sasquatch. That's at Sasquatch NHL, and I'm really glad you guys are here. Got a great show. And do me a huge favor. If you're here watching, you're enjoying the show, you're enjoying the content, it would mean a lot if you want to hit that subscribe button down below or throw me a like. That's great stuff. It helps me grow the channel, and we can keep doing this, keep making a difference in our Kraken community and building things together. So tonight, as usual, I'm going to give you my rapid reaction, the way I saw things go against the Coyotes. The first game of a 3-game West Coast swing after the Kraken got that big win on Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings, where we celebrated Women in Hockey Night. Really cool night at Climate Pledge Arena. So we skip ahead a little bit to today. You know, not exactly the marquee matchup that you would imagine, but more of a battle of the bottom dwellers, unfortunately, but that's all right. We're still going to have a good time here tonight. We're going to get our first glimpse of the Kraken roster after that big trade deadline yesterday. And, you know, we had to say goodbye to some of our first-year players that we really loved and wish them the best as they move on in their NHL career. But we saw a lot of moves, and I'll just give you a quick rundown. It all started with Calle Jarnkrok going to Calgary, and then we sent Gio and Colin Blackwell to Toronto. Jeremy Lauzon went to the Predators. Mason Appleton to the Jets. Marcus Johansson went to the Caps for Daniel Sprong, who scored tonight. And then we also acquired Victor Rask from Minnesota. Basically, we got a bunch of draft picks. I honestly have no idea what our roster was going to look like tonight going in with line pairings. But I know we have a massive amount of draft picks coming in, so that's going to be fun as we build the team. The draft this summer should be pretty entertaining. So the Coyotes coming in tonight, almost just as bad as the Kraken. Just right in front of them in the Western Conference. They're 20-38-4, last place in the Central, and second to last in the Western Conference. They've lost 2 in a row, 6-4-0 in their last 10. Kraken, on the other hand, 19-38-6. That's last in the Pacific and very last in the Western Conference. However, they did win against Detroit on Saturday. They're 3-5-2 in their last 10. So that's kind of the setup for tonight. So let's get moving. Let's get into the game breakdown. I want to get through that because I really want to share that interview I had with Alicia Crank earlier today. So I'm going to give you my take, our rapid reaction. You can hit me up with your thoughts on the game in the comments. I'm going to respond throughout the show. I try to respond to everybody, and you can hit me up on Twitter too. That's kind of fun. So let's get into the breakdown. We go to the first period. We've got Grubauer in net again. Omelka for the Coyotes. We start out with a little bit of back and forth, teams kind of feeling each other out. Pretty good work. You know, a lot of back and forth. Kraken get that first 5 minutes. They get through there clean. We've talked about that a lot on Twitter. JC over at Kraken Fancast, those guys do a great job. Check out their show, by the way. Arizona having some good sustained pressure up front, but things kind of tick away. So we go under 10 minutes left in the first. Good hard work, both teams. Shots still about even. Moving forward here, we're just under 8 minutes. Will Borgen gets held along the board, so the first power play is going to come up for Seattle. They get some good entries, good puck movement. Ended up with a couple shots on that power play, and we got a good look at our new guy, Daniel Sprong. Just unloaded the puck a few times. He's got a huge shot, but no power play goal. The Kraken kind of carry some momentum off of that power play and feel their intensity start to tick up just a little bit. We go down to about minute 14 left in the first, and Phil Kessel gets a good drive into the net there for the Coyotes. Vince Dunn goes to the box for tripping. Kraken are going to finish that first period on the penalty kill, and they do. They get through that. So we go into the second period. Man, take a breath, because this second period was busy again. Seems like that's a theme lately. Crazy second periods. So the Kraken with the edge in shots, 15-8. They kill off the last 46 seconds of the Arizona power play, and then they really start kind of buzzing around in Arizona's in. Some good keep-ins at the blue line, good cycling, generating a lot of good chances. It's really kind of the second game in a row now where it feels like they've just simplified their game a little bit, just kind of taking what's in front of them. You don't need to be fancy at this point. We're at the bottom of the standings, so let's just get some shots, good simple play. So we go a little further into the second, 13 and a half minutes left, and behind the Kraken net, Aiden Fleury maybe gets a little too physical. He's going to the box for cross-checking. But, you know, you like to see the battle down low. I don't have a problem with that penalty. And right at the end of the power play, just about 15 seconds left, Coyotes send it up top, kind of reverse it back on the sideboards there. They get it right into the middle of the ice, and Nick Schmaltz just one-times it past Grubauer. Great goal, so it's 1-0 Coyotes, and man, it just really picks up from here. Just a few seconds later, the Kraken bring it right back in. Carson Soucy, right at the top of the blue line, takes the puck from Eberle, skates down the middle, and sends it in. We've got a tie game, 1-1. Great traffic in front. That's what it's all about. You got to get the traffic out in front of the net there, but don't get too comfortable, and don't go to the bathroom. Arizona's right back at it, basically just a few seconds later. Nick Ritchie sneaks in alone, buries it. Coyotes reclaim the lead 2-1, and just a cluster of goals here over about 1 minute in time. Action's just really picking up. A lot of odd man rushes back and forth. Kraken need to settle their defense down just a little bit and seal off some of those passes through the neutral zone. So we're about 8:15 left. Arizona takes another penalty. Pretty obvious interference call there. Kraken go to the power play again, and the passing on this power play was pretty forgettable for the most part. But late in the power play, they get a good entry, and our new guy, Daniel Sprong, just comes off of the sideboards like a lightning bolt. He snipes it. Amazing shot. We've got a tie game again, 2-2. We go a little further now, second period, 5 minutes left. Seattle's going back to the power play. Arizona called for hooking. So you've got a chance to take the lead here right at the end of the second. Power play actually kind of ticks away, but right after it, Carson Soucy again gets a nice pass up to the top of the zone from Ryan Donato, and Soucy just buries it again. It gives the Kraken the 3-2 lead. His second goal of the game, big goal going into the third period. Soucy actually takes a penalty there at the end of the period, so they're going to finish the second just like they did the first, shorthanded. So we go to the third. Take a breath, right? We go to the third. The Kraken kill off the rest of the Coyotes penalty. The flow's a little disjointed to start the third, but things start to pick up again. Kraken starting to tilt the ice to the Arizona end. Got about a 32-22 edge in the shots, and just kind of grinding the clock away. Arizona, they get a really close chance that kind of went through the crease right under Grubauer there, but it didn't go in. Under 10 minutes to go. Kraken get into the zone. Some really amazing passing down low. They go tic-tac-toe. I think this was about 8 minutes left, and Geeky just buries it into a wide open net. The goalie kind of overcommitted. He got a little fooled by all the passing there, and the Kraken grab that 4-2 lead, and that will basically do it. Just an amazing sequence there where they moved the puck around, and Geeky made no mistake, just put it in. It's just a huge win coming off of the trade deadline. You really feel happy for these guys. A couple new guys coming in. People just don't even really know each other on that roster yet. They really came together. Just kind of an impressive win tonight. So really proud of the Kraken. They did a great job. Made the end of the day really fun, and pretty exciting game. That second period again was crazy. We're going to take a quick look at the stats. We've got 39 shots on goal for Seattle. Again, over 35 shots. That's fantastic. Arizona with only 26. Both teams get a power play goal, 1 for 3 each of them. And it felt like Seattle kind of limited their turnovers and things like that have plagued them early in the year. So that's good to see. Even, late down the stretch here. Shots by period, Seattle kind of dominating early, pretty much even in the second, a lot of back and forth, and then they really put the clamps on in the third. So great game by the Kraken, just really impressive. I know Arizona's not that good, but neither is Seattle. So it's fun to see kind of a couple teams that are struggling, trying to find some guys that are maybe going to stick on the roster next year and develop and see how it goes. So guys, I'm really excited. I wanted to get through the rapid reaction pretty fast tonight because I've got a great interview here for you, Alicia Crank, and I wanted to air the whole thing. I was going to try to chop it up, but just ended up being a great conversation. Really wanted to share the whole thing with you guys. I'm also going to post another excerpt of that tomorrow, so if you want to come back to the channel, that would be great. So let's go to that interview. Earlier today, Alicia Crank, the new ambassador chair for Women's Pro Hockey Seattle. Really grateful that she was able to stop by. And so stick around, hit me up in the chat during the interview here, and I'll respond to you guys. Let's go to that right now. All right, I am here with Alicia Crank. Alicia, thank you for making the time for stopping by to chat with me. I'm really honored to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Still hyped up from last Saturday's game.
Yeah, honestly, so I kind of wrote this in our pregame notes to each other. I was feeling like the timing really worked out good. Right off the heels of that really exciting win against the Red Wings, we celebrated women in hockey night. I was at home watching on TV. It looked like a really incredible atmosphere. Can you maybe kind of share with us how it felt to be there and some of the things that were going on in the arena that night?
It was super dynamic, and I have to tell you, I was talking to a few other people about this, and before the team even had a name, this was the game I was going to. This is the game I was waiting for. I knew they would have to play Detroit, when the team came to be. So this is the game I was hyped up for the entire year. I was ready. I was decked. So it was just kismet that it also ended up landing during Women's History Month. And that it was the game that landed on the night that they would, honor women of hockey and have the Black Girl Hockey Club there. So, I mean, on top of the original excitement of it, just kind of having all those things come together at one time, it was electric. I mean, it really was.
Yeah, that's really cool. Just really, really neat timing, everything meshing together. So I thought maybe, for those of us that don't know you real well, I'm hoping to give maybe a little glimpse into your personal backstory. Like you said, I know you're originally from Detroit, and you had a little bit of the Red Wings swag complimenting your Kraken gear on Saturday. So maybe you could talk about the roads that have led you to the Puget Sound and maybe some impacts that have made you who you are today and where you're at now.
Sure. So this is kind of stage 3 for me. So stage 1 is, growing up in Detroit and Michigan, as a whole, and that's where I became a hockey fan. I mean, you grow up in Hockey Town, we claim it, and it was a thing, to have all kind of 4 big sports teams there, men's sports teams there. I was spoiled kind of growing up in that atmosphere. I'll say stage 2 was when I was 21 and decided to, move to the Bay Area. What I thought would be for a couple of years, and turned out to be 18.
Oh, wow.
And so I was just up the road from San Jose in a town called Mountain View.
Okay.
And I was there, started going to Sharks games. And of course, when they played the Red Wings.
Yeah.
And I think that expanded my fandom in a bit, because growing up in Detroit, there was never really a question about, oh my God, someone that's Black is a hockey fan. But definitely when I got to California, it was like, whoa. What are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm a fan, we do this thing.
Yeah.
And so coming up here, I love the Bay Area. I loved living in Silicon Valley. It really did craft my career, both in institutional banking and now in nonprofit leadership. But it got expensive. I mean, it's expensive here too, but not nearly, as it was down there. So I had to make that adult decision to move or be a forever roommate. And I had friends that lived in the Shoreline area that were convincing me to move up. So I did. So I've been in Edmonds since 2014, still doing nonprofit leadership and a lot of stuff around women's issues. And, this was the first time I was living in a non-hockey town, or professional NHL hockey town until now. So I've been on this road with the crew. Shout out to Paul Buxton
Yeah.
and the rest of those folks who kind of got me excited about it. And it's just been fun to be able to be a part, of this new team, this new expansion, and being able to do stuff with, Zoe as well with women's pro hockey. So it's it's a great compliment to the other work that I do, that pays the bills, but also,
Right.
keeps me fun.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely know about paying the bills. That's
Yeah.
that's really interesting too. I actually spent a little bit of time in the Bay Area myself. Kind of grew up watching the Sharks, and so
Yeah.
a lot in common there. Really interesting, and actually might try to get Paul on the show at some point. But
You should.
kind of an
He's fun.
interesting. Yeah, he's a good dude. So touching on some of the the community outreach and things you're doing, you were just recently named the ambassador chair for pro hockey, women's pro hockey Seattle.
Yes.
You're very, very busy. Local politics, athletics. You're making big noise in the equity arena. You're the founder of International Women's Day in Edmonds, started in 2019, if I read properly.
Yes.
So I mean, very busy. But can you kind of tell us what are some of your duties or your responsibilities and maybe your goals as you embrace this new role as ambassador chair, and how do you hope to kind of leverage your position to bring professional women's hockey into the Seattle area?
That is a great multifaceted question. I think part of it, when they reached out and asked me to, be the ambassador chair, for me, it was a no-brainer because I was already kind of in the space of going to the games, going to the things, especially with Edmonds International Women's Day. That's how I got to meet Zoe and Kelly.
Okay.
At the same time, because they were going to be a part of Women's Day in 2020, but then COVID had other ideas.
Yeah.
But we always stayed in touch, and we're always in the same circle. So I think just the work around promoting women in areas that were not traditionally seen as influencers or leaders, especially in the worlds of hockey. It was a no-brainer to kind of adopt that role as the ambassador chair. I think the hardest thing I've had to do as ambassador chair is figure out which jersey to wear to a particular thing.
Yeah. So do you have a Sharks jersey too did you wear to the Sharks game?
I gave up. I do, but that's in the closets.
Yeah.
With my Eiserman jersey.
All right. Just for the record,
Yes. Like I have them. But, part of being an ambassador chair is just one, being able to kind of be there to fully represent, the mission and the organization, and to rally other women who are interested in the sport to, continue to promote it, and also to help us be one of the catalysts into bringing a professional team here to the West Coast. I was so honored to have met Kimberly Sass over the weekend and get to learn more about what she's been doing on the East Coast with women's professional hockey. So, I mean, it gave me a vision and some ambition to keep this moving, keep it going.
Yeah.
We just want to, promote other women and just say, hey, let's keep this going. We are a financial contributor to the successes of these teams as well.
And especially kind of like you alluded to, new market, new team, a lot of new fans. It's really important to kind of break those walls down, and we see this a lot on Twitter. Actually, just recently, we're seeing a lot of the gatekeeping and things like that, and people that are trying to push new fans away. And that's the kind of stuff we want to try to stop from happening and squash it before it does in a lot of ways. But so maybe I don't know. Maybe it's early, but could you give us like a status on where we're at with actually bringing a women's professional team to Seattle, or maybe things that we can do as fans to keep that momentum going?
I would say we're a good 2 to 3 years out from having a team here in Seattle. I mean, I think one of the great things about the Kraken is that they've been, and the ownership is that they've been really open to supporting and having a conversation and bringing us on. They were in touch with us on Saturday when we were doing Women of Hockey Night, and wanted to make sure that we were there.
Yeah, that's great.
And that we're part of that. So I think it's going to take having a good ownership group, to make that happen. I think the fan interest has to be there, and I think that's growing. And again, I think just the expansion of women's pro hockey across the country is happening.
Yep. Just as it kind of comes to light, people start to take it in a little bit more and just actually be able to see it. That's a big part of it too.
Right.
Just having it on television or streaming or some way to actually consume
Exactly.
that
There's
content.
that equity piece, right? It's
Hmm.
about, it shouldn't be as super easy as it is to find the men's teams on a mainstream place, but then have to go and dig to find
Yeah.
where the women's teams, if it's streaming at all, it just shouldn't be that difficult. So we're
Right.
seeing some changes in that, but we can't rest on our laurels, right? We got to keep it
Yeah.
moving. We got to
Yep.
keep demanding it.
Awesome. So, and like you were alluding to during COVID, it's been tough. Just outreaching and being able to see people in person and things like that. And it's starting to get maybe a little bit better. We'd be good for you because one of your big hashtags is break the bias. I'd love for you to talk about that a little bit, and maybe just explain it to someone who has no idea what that is. And so maybe we can utilize that mindset and that mantra as we build our Kraken community and just our community in general around that.
No, absolutely. So every year, International Women's Day is just that, it's international. And so there is a committee that comes up with the tags every year. So for 2022, it was Break the Bias. And it resonated with me personally
It's a
because there is a lot of,
it's really good hashtag.
it really is,
Yeah.
because it falls into so many areas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, we built upon that during Edmonds International Women's Day. So we included, females in law enforcement and women
Mm-hmm.
judges of Snohomish County, and being able to kind of talk about the biases that they break on a daily basis.
Right.
And then within even this area of hockey and women's presence in hockey, like the fact that, there shouldn't be a bias about the fact that women are fans. And I think are hardcore fans. And they know more stats than most dudes that I know.
Yeah. I just took a guy to a game, great friend of mine. He'd never been to a hockey game. He didn't understand anything about it. So it's not just women there's people just are new to the game in general. So yeah.
But there's that kind of default position of if you're a guy, you are, or even if you're a white guy, you are, but anybody else, it's just got to be weird. And it's like, no, I'm a fan of, some of that aggressive play on the ice. I can get my frustrations out, that way too. But there's a lot of skill that's involved in that as well. So it's breaking a bias as far as, who are fans and who are the ones that are adding to the bottom line, financially, and who are those that are influenced. I think there are women that help to influence even some of those trades that happen, because we talk stats. We talk about who we like and who we don't like.
Oh, for sure.
Very openly.
Mm-hmm.
We're there.
Yeah. Oh no, I hear that. I think there's also the family element to it as well. And I saw someone post today, like, athletes, professional sports players in general, like they're humans on the other side of this too. So
Absolutely.
females and males, they're dealing with their family and their spouses and their children. So all those things are really important. I think it's kind of interesting to think of both sides of the coin in that area. But just for me personally,
I was at the Women of Hockey Power Panel.
Yeah.
The Friday before, and someone did ask an interesting question. There was a woman that asked Kimberly specifically. She said, is women's hockey less violent than men's hockey? Because as women, we know what happens after we leave. And to a degree, she said yes, but she goes, we want to get out there and play it too. We don't play puff hockey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're out there to play. But yes, there is a mentality of common sense too that comes with women that we think beyond the game.
Yeah. Yeah, as a guy, we definitely have that switch that can flip sometimes, and that aggressive nature comes out. But I was just gonna say, I guess, as just personally as a dad of a female athlete, very dedicated. She's very talented. She's actually heading to state this weekend. So
nice.
Thanks. I'm very cognizant of that gap that still kind of exists in our world between professional, not just professional, but male and female sports altogether. Not only like we talked about in the media coverage and exposure, but also in access to facilities, equipment, and so on and so forth. And sometimes it's just as simple as, well, why would you want to use that piece of gear? You're a girl, or things like that. So maybe in your mind, how can we break some of those walls down, keep working at leveling out that playing field and further empower our and encourage our younger female athletes so they don't give up on their dreams?
You know what? That's a great question. And it's one of the things I've had to kind of drill down on myself as someone who doesn't have a child, right? So I don't have kids, I don't have a little girl, but I know that I'm in a position to kind of help move that along. So I
Yeah.
think first is just making sure that when we say equal opportunity, we mean equal opportunity.
Hmm.
You know, all can play. And as someone who also works with persons with disabilities, that accessibility piece is even broader, right? So it's,
Yeah.
making sure that the game is accessible to all, and whatever that means for that particular group, but to make it equitable and accessible. Um, I think too, making sure that some of these teams have to do their job and their work in engaging younger folks to make them the fans of tomorrow.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
make them the players of today so that they can be the fans of tomorrow. And we have to make sure that we're creating those avenues to make it. And for some, accessibility is that financial aspect of it. It can't be such an expensive thing
Right. And
coming
hockey
into it. As
is,
you're going,
as you know.
yeah, and you're going to price people out of the fandom. I mean, I
Hmm.
will say I probably spent way more on Kraken. I have a week's worth of Kraken merch that I can wear without repeating anything. And that's never happened before. And I'm sure that's because I saved some money on driving because of COVID. So,
Yeah.
so some of those dollars were there. But so I would say, but typically there's no way I would have been able to, purchase the things, whether it was for, Black History Night or Women's Hockey Night, when things are beyond what the average socioeconomic person can be able to get.
Yeah.
So I think just making sure that those inroads are there to create a longer lasting relationship with the game is important for girls, for everybody.
Hmm. So, and maybe just kind of thinking outside of sports specifically a little bit here, just a quick little story. So, like, I grew up when I was little. We had a little portable tape recorder, right? And we
Mhm.
would, and maybe I'm dating myself, but we would put a cassette tape into the into the tape recorder,
Yeah.
right? And we would smash that the black and red the play and record buttons down, right? And me and my brother and sister, we would we would record our own shows and stories, and we even figured out a way to like make the tape speed up and slow down so our voice would kind of sound funny, and so we would spend hours doing this, right? And so I guess the reason I'm kind of telling you this story is that at that age, we all have our dreams, our ambitions, and I can kind of see it in my child right now. And thinking back, it's just like thanks to one small little piece of technology that I had access to,
Yeah.
it kind of opened my mind to technology, and maybe even leading to where we're at right now. I'm able to do this really fun show and meet amazing people like you. So I guess what I'm trying to say with all that said, as an adult, sometimes I feel like maybe we're failing to put those devices or that technology or that book or et cetera in the hands of kids, underprivileged especially, that need it. So I guess with all that, how can we attempt to find better ways to pinpoint kids that need those things, and really get them access to those devices and that technology so that they can grow their dreams and ambitions?
I thought you were telling me that story because you knew that I went to school for radio
Oh,
back
no,
in high school and college. So, I was one of those people that knew how to do splicing on reel to reels.
oh,
So
okay.
I get it. And,
Yeah.
but I love this question because again, I think we've gotten so far with certain types of technology that more of the hands-on stuff has gone away if it's not a joystick controller, right?
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it's about, going back to maybe a more retro period, a retro state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have one of those recorders with the cassette and
Yeah.
then the extended microphone
Yeah.
that you can do. I haven't gotten rid of it in years because I think part of it takes me back to this is where I came from.
Right.
This is where I learned what I learned. So I don't want to get rid of it because it's a part of who I am. So I
Mm-hmm.
think some of it has to go back to us remembering how we were as kids and what got us engaged
Yeah. The mind of a
in
child, right?
things. The mind of a child. Like, I will tell you, one of the things that I've started doing recently, and if you follow me on Twitter, you see this at least on Sundays. We started a Lego club
Oh,
at
cool.
the local bottle shop in Edmonds that I go to called Bridges, and we just kind of randomly started, and it's kind of like that time you're trying to go back to childhood
Yeah.
and not look at a computer screen and actually like build things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the most coordinated person of the group to get these things going, but it does, it relieves stress, but it also kind of takes me back to that youthful mindset. So I think we have to find those things that take us back or remind us of that so that we can pass it on to those around us.
Yeah, just kind of embracing that that childlike curiosity and really understanding like maybe a child's perception a little bit more and kind of opening ourselves up to these things. But yeah, I think maybe even just a lot more tactile type learning. It doesn't have to be low tech. It can still be high tech, but especially after coming through 2 years of COVID where everything's been through the screen or on the Xbox or the PlayStation or et cetera, I think it's really important to get those devices and those things into kids' hands and try to move forward. So, Alicia, this has been really fun. I want to finish with a couple of lighthearted questions here because I feel like we got into some really serious stuff, and I think that's great. But I also want to, have some fun with you too. So, quick rundown as we wrap up a little bit here. If you were a pro hockey player, all right?
Oh God.
Not even pro. Have you ever played hockey? I mean, you grew up in Michigan.
I skated once and that was enough.
Okay. So if you were a pro hockey player, what position would you play? Center, or like a forward, defender, or goalie?
I'm goalie. 100%. I'm all about protecting. I'm all about keeping the bad stuff out. So no.
I like that. Okay, so another one. Are you do you follow NCAA basketball at all, men or women?
Yes.
Okay, so is your bracket busted?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I always usually play, try to play the upsets, but even my upsets were upset. So it's done.
It's been chaos, both men and women. So
yes.
Okay, another one. As a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So a couple of things. I wanted to be a paratrooper. And that's a story for another time.
Okay. Well, we're going to have you back. So, okay.
Yes. And the other, I would say I wanted to be like a radio talk show host.
Ooh,
I wanted to be Oprah, but on the radio. I didn't want to be on TV because I was super self-conscious of myself. But I felt like people would listen to me if they just heard me on the radio.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Another one. What is at the top of your Spotify playlist right now?
Can I tell you I don't have Spotify?
Okay. Well, what was the last great song you listened to?
Flawless by George Michael.
Ooh. Okay.
It is the ultimate get out of bed, get your butt going song.
All right. I'm going to go check that out here after we're done. Okay, two more. What is your biggest pet peeve when you're driving?
People who don't use their signals.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
For me, it's the left lane thing. I mean, that feels like everyone says that, but just get out of the left lane.
Give me the signal.
Okay, so last one, since it's almost dinner time, I'm kind of getting hungry myself. In-N-Out, Five Guys, or Shake Shack if you're going burgers?
In-N-Out.
All right. I mean, that's got to be the Bay Area speaking, right?
Yes.
That's good. Well, thanks again so much for stopping by. This has been a lot of fun. I definitely want to have you back when you've got some time. I know you're very busy. I wanted to give you an opportunity, though, if you've got any upcoming events or some socials or promos you want to put out there before we sign off.
Oh, absolutely. There's a ton. I only give you a couple, though. So, of course, the PHF playoffs are happening in Florida this coming weekend, the 25th to the 28th. So please watch those.
Okay.
We are going to try to come up with some watch parties now that we're kind of allowed to get out and about. So I would just say follow the Women's Pro Hockey Seattle Twitter feed for more information, which is Whoa Pro Ho Seattle. I didn't name it, but that's what it is. But also you can see other links to stuff that I'm doing and connected with on my Alicia and Edmonds website, which is literally just aliciaandedmonds.com.
All right.
And it links to Women Pro Hockey. It links to all of it.
Okay. Great. Well, we'll definitely check all that stuff out. I think there's actually a 32 crew watch party coming up this next weekend.
Yes, this coming Saturday too. So I'll probably be there at that. Yes.
All right. Cool. Excellent. Well, thanks again so much. It was really an honor and a privilege having you here. I love talking with you, and let's do it again soon. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks.
And take care.
All right. So that was Alicia Crank with a fantastic conversation. Really enjoyed having you on the show, Alicia. Let's have you back again. Maybe we can go live one of these nights together, talk a little more Kraken hockey, talk about the community. All those things are definitely what I want this channel to be about. Again, really appreciate you stopping by. That's your new ambassador chair for Women's Pro Hockey Seattle. Go check her out on Twitter. She's got a website, and try to keep up with her if you can, because what an amazing person, and just really doing some great work in the Seattle hockey community and just in the community in general. So thanks again, Alicia. We're going to take a quick look at the standings here. We're going to wind things down a little bit. It's been a great day, a great night of Kraken hockey, great conversation with Alicia. I just couldn't ask for more right now. Really a lot of fun. Again, you guys, if you want to subscribe, that would be very much appreciated. Hit that red button, hit the like button. If you're watching tonight, maybe tomorrow, catching up later in the week, I really appreciate all the support, and we're going to keep this thing going. It's a lot of fun. So taking a quick look, we've got in the Central, the Coyotes are going to go to 20, 39, and 4 with that loss tonight. That's going to be, let's see here, the Kraken now are going to move to 20, 38, and 6. So I believe they will pass Arizona in the conference standings. They'll probably go back and forth a little bit as we go down the stretch, though. So we'll just have to see how that ends up. Let's take a quick look at the Kraken upcoming schedule here. We've got the Kings on Saturday. So a few days off here, a little rest for the new guys to maybe adjust to the team and learn some of the systems and see how things go. And then you've got the Kings again, Monday the 28th, and then you've got the Golden Knights twice. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Going a little further into April, we've got the Dallas Stars coming to town, and then the Kraken head out on the road. First game against the Blues there, out in the Central Division. So that should be a lot of fun to see how these new guys are going to perform, who's going to stick in the roster as we go forward and build this Kraken team. I'm really excited for the draft this year. Maybe we'll have to do a some sort of an all-star panel. We'll get like Alicia, maybe some of the people from 32 crew, maybe Brandon over here, maybe one of the guys from Kraken Fancast, or that'd be fun to maybe assemble an all-star Seattle Kraken community crew for the draft and stream it live. So maybe let me know if you like that idea. Hit me up on Twitter, hit me in the comments. Again, thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. A lot of fun tonight. A big Kraken win. That's 2 in a row. 2 in a row. Don't worry about them winning. If they're still going to get a good draft pick. All right? Just enjoy it. First year. Thanks for watching tonight. We'll talk to you guys again soon. And thanks again, Alicia, for stopping by. Great conversation. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.